Hello and welcome to another episode of A Podcast. Your host, Stephen Maxted, and today we have Taylor Nelson with Virtual Gurus. Taylor, we go back a year or two, or is it maybe more? I don't know, but we work with Taylor. and she is lovely to work with. And yeah, we wanted to have Virtual Gurus on today, a fellow Canadian startup and success story. And you're part of the squad there. Yeah, and we wanted to have you on and chat about how things are going over there. We're excited about what you guys do. We part of our team's built out from there. So thanks for making time today, and welcome to the show. If you want to tell a little bit about yourself before we get into everything that you're doing and what Virtual Gurus is up to.
Yeah, so I guess thanks for having me. I'm super excited about today, but I got started with Virtual Gurus probably a year and a half ago, and then I got introduced to you because you've been working with us for so long. But I got started in the client success department, and what that means is I'm just basically an account manager. I find VAs that work well with other larger corporations, and it's been so much fun. I know that we've definitely built onto your team for sure. And then I guess over the whole last year and a half I've been here, we've expanded like our services. So now I work on both sides of the business. I do a lot in our VG assistant side, but then I also work on our SaaS model as well. So it's a little bit about us. As for like Virtual Gurus as a whole, we're a Canadian startup where we're founded by Bobby Reset. Bobby Reset is an Indigenous woman who found, I guess, overall Virtual Gurus she was a VA herself, and eventually she just realized that like she wanted to have a business where VAs were like paid fully, that they were paid a living wage opposed to having to bid for their work. And then on top of that, have a huge like DEI component part of it where people from marginalized communities are also able to find work at an equitable pace as people who are not part of those communities. So
Awesome. That is a killer recap. Wonderful. No,
Thank
that is
you.
so great. And yeah, we've found I forget how long it is because I have worked with different virtual assistants from different parts of the globe in different companies that I've worked with. Some companies have already had relationships with different organizations that have hired from other parts, and then basically had met Virtual Gurus through a kind of a mentor of mine through business. And through that, yeah, I got connected with the team, and at a few different times I've hired and worked with different experts on the VA side, and it's been a wonderful experience. Every time I bring it up to people, it's sometimes there's hesitation around hiring. I think a VA in general. I'm lucky enough to have had some experiences coming in, and then was able to find you guys more locally, so to say. I'm just a big fan of it. But what are some of the skepticisms that folks have coming into getting a VA and even getting started in business, or what are some walls, I guess, that you guys face sometimes?
Yeah. So I think overall, the biggest issue that a lot of clients are facing, the first one being a lot of it could be privacy oriented. So
Right.
First one being privacy is a huge one. Luckily for us, like all of our VAs, they're North American based. So you don't really have to you don't really have to worry about the privacy invasion as like anything from an offshore VA is. Everybody's located like locally
Right.
here. But a lot of the time, like incidentals could be an issue or leaking private information. Another really big part that I have is like, I find that a lot of founders just don't know how to delegate their work.
Yes. Yep.
And that's the hardest part to get started.
Yeah. How do you help people work through that? I mean, I see lots of like the social media stuff suggesting it. I mean, I feel literally the pain of other people not being able to let go, because it's such a common conversation I actually have with founder when they ask, like, hey, how did you grow your team, or like, what's going on? And you guys have been a big part of that. Like, a good chunk of our folks are through Virtual Gurus, and we're not afraid to talk about it. It's been fantastic. But I think it maybe is because of other management experience I've had on my own journey versus maybe other folks haven't been able to, like you said, kind of like let go of tasks and have that trust there. How do you build that up with folks, or how do we tell them it's okay?
So I think like the biggest part is I let my clients know a lot of the time when I am talking to them,
Mhm.
basically, especially when you are working with SMBs, and a lot of my clients
Wait, what's
are
that?
like small, medium businesses.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry.
No, you're good.
You said it
Like
so smoothly. I'm like, is that a word? Did I just hear something? And I'm like, okay,
SMBs.
sorry.
So a lot of my clients
Awesome.
are very like small businesses. Sometimes they're a party of
Right.
one, sometimes they're a party of two. A lot of the time they have like 1 to 25 people. They just can't afford like full-time support.
Yeah.
But I find like the biggest thing, especially when people are looking for like an EA or an admin, is like you have your business, and your business for a lot of people, and I'm sure that you can relate to this as well, is your baby. You've spent a
Yeah.
very, very long time building up that business and kind of like raising it to be what it is. And then you
Mhm.
have somebody come in, and it's a very vulnerable experience, I think, for a lot of founders, because it's like, well, they don't like the way that I organize my emails, or my emails aren't organized, but I like it like that. Or they just don't know how to pass off like those different buckets to
Right.
other people, and that's completely okay. So I've kind of like established a lot with my clients, where the ones that are very handholdy, more so like I call it the 3 bucket rule. And I say, take down every single thing, every single task that you have for this person.
Mhm.
And say you have 20 tasks, okay? Well, you're going to put 5 in each, and you're going to present it to your VA or whoever you're working with, and you're going to say, okay, I'm passing you 3 buckets here. You can move around tasks as you wish, but
Mhm.
I want you to pick 2 of those buckets, but those 2 things have to be what you're exceptional at. Like there's just
Right.
it's just has to be what you're known for, what you love to do, anything you're passionate about. But that last bucket I'm going to hold on to, and I'm going to keep that bucket until I have that proof that you know what you're doing, that you know the organization a little bit more.
Right.
And once you know that, then you can have that 3rd bucket.
Awesome.
So
I
that's
love
the
that
biggest one.
explanation. Yeah, it definitely would be. I do get the hesitation, like you said. It's like their baby. It's like their kid. It's it's their everything. They put a lot of sweat equity into. But I've had some of the folks on my team for over a couple of years now,
Mhm.
roughly. Maybe my math is off.
A
I think it's
while.
about that. Yeah. So, and it's. I think some people would find this odd, but I don't anymore. I guess, I mean, I've always felt very connected with the folks that we've done. You guys do a great job. Maybe we'll walk through that kind of like the process, because I don't know, I call you guys get connected. And then the process kind of goes along the lines of, and correct me if I'm a little bit off here, but or talk with me through it. Is you get connected with someone like yourself, or maybe it's a slightly different role, and then they provide, you kind of go through like a list of your needs, because as you're saying, kind of for like things that you may need. And then from there, you guys provide kind of like a list of candidates. So it's much like going through an interview process that you guys have already vetted, and you have like a great descript list. I feel like I still have like the printout somewhere in my office here of like, top skill sets of these great, very strong, smart individuals in these areas here. From there, you get to like select a few that you then follow through the interview process with. There's some follow up and review, and then either like move forward or, go back to the drawing board in terms of, who you want to be connected with. You guys seem to have a really great wheelhouse of folks to choose from in there that can kind of match different energies in the company, as you mentioned, a very diverse team there. And yeah, then from there, then it's kind of like onboarding, getting started. I think sometimes for folks, my assumption might be that it's kind of overwhelming that way, where they just don't know how to like onboard. Like that's a whole process. If you haven't done it, or familiarize yourself, it's a lot of. I could see early stage companies being frustrated with like, oh, I thought I told them that, and but you just have to be so clear with your team. And I mean, my team's, I don't know, they're the ones running the show for a good chunk of stuff now. So it's an extra confidence on my end, but I think a lot of people could benefit from hiring folks on. It was part of the reason I wanted to have part of this discussion today with you. And share more of the story about what you guys are doing and how you're helping companies out there. Is there anything I missed there? What are the steps of the process? Then you're just happy and you feel relaxed the whole time, right?
That's exactly it. There's no extra work that goes on beyond. Um, so I think like you hit the nail on the head. Like you kind of have the discovery call and have our team kind of run through like any qualifying questions, make sure that we actually have what you're looking for, and then after that, that gets passed on to the team that I work with, and based off of like the qualifications, we use like an AI sorting program that helps us figure out who actually is the best fit for you in your pool based off of like any tasks, any softwares, personality type, things along those lines, and then
Cool.
review sort it that way. Another really big part of it is just like those check-ins, making sure that things are actually smooth sailing, but obviously, the goal is to always get it right the first time, always, and make sure that the clients feel supported and that the VA and the client are actually able to communicate with one another. And that's
Right.
something that I know that you do really well with your team is like you're very open and very honest about what it is that you want, and the relationship's only ever going to be as good and as smooth sailing as like that honesty is.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And you know what? It's not a lot different than hiring someone like full time. And in fact, you can run into the same difficulties or stresses that we kind of mentioned there in terms of being able to, like that's the trust, relationships, blah, blah, blah. But now you've committed to someone on some form of like part-time or full-time basis. Now with you guys though, it's a little different in terms of like the hours that you have to commit. Now, what's kind of like a minimum that someone has to like start with to work with a VA, for instance?
So our minimum package is 20 hours, and that's just for the entire month. So it's kind of cool. Like
Right.
you can kind of add or decrease, but the minimum package is like that 20 hours to be able to work with a VA.
Yeah.
But what's really great about it is like they're already vetted, and like you're not going to have those same issues that you have when you do hire somebody internally. Like a lot of the time, people are like, "Well, what if my VA leaves?" I'm like, "Well, what if your internal employee leaves?"
Yeah. And then you have to go out and hire again. Whereas you guys that would have backups and stuff. We had someone on our team move back home for them, and we lost them on our team. Now, hopefully, or in the future, if they wanted to come back, we would totally hire them. They were amazing, right? Just using that as a light example. But yeah, like that stuff happens all the time. So I think that's a great way to get started, especially if the company's really on. You need a little bit of help, but for 20 hours in that month or whatever, if that is the minimum, that seems super reasonable, because otherwise you're looking at some kind of salary for someone where you're minimum probably 20 hours a week on the very low end. So this could be spread out and at least get you started to try to practice managing in a way, someone else on the team, if you're, a solo individual running a company, or if you and a couple folks and you just need a little extra help. I feel like it's such a great fit. That's speaking from experience and then witnessing, and we have a lot of entrepreneurs on the podcast too, where I think this would be just such a fit all the time. Often it's mentioned before or after the podcast about what the heck, how do they hire, and what my 2 cents on it. So I'm always kind of plugging virtual gurus there, and so yeah, like that is like a huge win. Now, you mentioned something else about services or like a SaaS product that you guys are involved in now, and I think that's fascinating. I've seen you spend a lot of time, Taylor, doing some of the content now on that own marketing side of it. But can you tell us a little bit more about what has advanced there for tech with virtual gurus?
Yeah, so in October of this year, we actually launched VG Connect, which is our AI receptionist, which is like powered by human-friendly behaviors. So what's really unique about it is a lot of the time when you call your bank and you get like the press 1 for billing, and that really annoying system that everybody hates dealing with, like Purelator is famous for it. They have the worst line to be able to get a hold of somebody. That's an IVR system.
Yeah.
And those are kind of like what we're trying to phase out through this. And the whole point of it is to have somebody who can take your calls for you to either call back or have them be qualified leads that are scheduled into your calendar. But it's friendly, it's conversational. You can kind of hardwire it the way that you want it to be. You can connect your calendar to it, any other links, just any of your frequently asked questions that you feel like you could not have your receptionist doing, and have your receptionist do more of like that quality follow through. Another really important part of it that I'm a huge fan of it. It has an outbound campaign to it. So I have a ton of
Very
clients
cool.
that are using it to be able to contact like their happy clients or conduct any NPS or CSATs. That's another really cool part of it. I have dealerships that are using it to be able to call back their leads.
Very cool. And
And
so how does the outbound work exactly?
So the outbound works like it's super, super easy. It's foolproof, honestly. You just take a
Love it.
CSV file and you upload it, you let them know what you want it to say,
Yeah.
and you send it out and you can call up to 500 people at a time.
Wow.
It's
That is
so
so
cool.
efficient. Yeah, I knew about the inbound. I don't think this is new news,
It
maybe
is
to some
new.
degree. Oh,
It is
okay.
new
Well,
since I
extra
showed you
new.
it.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome.
So,
And I heard I've done the inbound thing, and just to talk this out loud, when you do like, yeah, you're saying like call in, and you guys make good content. So if you're not already following their pages on social and you've gotten this far in the episode, go and do that after this. But when you're calling in, it seems like it's quite engaging. You kind of know, you're like, okay, wait a sec, is this like real, a robot? It's almost like tough to know at first when I like the example kind of thing. And I'm like, it was, yeah, very engaging, friendly in nature. And it seemed to gather all the information. It's very thorough. The nice thing in my mind about this, and it's not to take away, but just to add on to, pardon me, the company as a whole. But I mean, when we think about inbound calls, they can come at any time. Most people are not going to be sitting and or available even near the phone at all hours of the day. So it definitely takes some stress and stress relief off that way, in terms of, yeah, someone being able to be there for those phone calls coming in inbound. But it's even better that you guys are doing outbound now too, because that's
right.
we done all at the same time. Phones will be ringing off the hook.
Well, I have a client and he gets like 2,000 calls a month. And he's just
Wow.
like, it's just so nice that I don't have to go to the phone. I don't have to, I don't like, my receptionist can deal with the people who are calling in actually for help. And then the
Right.
AI can filter out any spam calls or filter out.
Right.
It just is so useful. I think it's a game changer. It's my favorite part of my job. Like the VA side of things is super cool, but this is my favorite part of my job.
That's so cool.
Nerd
Oh,
alert.
no, that's fantastic. And so you guys are already making like these kind of advancements. What else is kind of, or is there another stage to like add on to this in the future? I'm just trying to think of like what else would be coming. I guess it's mostly phone call management, inbound, outbound. That's covered. Good. Yeah. Where else are you guys going with this thing?
So the next one that we have is just for clients that may just need a little bit extra touch. It's VG Connect, but it's a live version, so that's human powered,
Okay.
which would just work like a call center. But
Gotcha.
that's like the human powered portion that we're also working towards, just because we understand that not every single founder or business owner wants AI incorporated in their business.
Yeah.
But so that's where we plan to take things next.
Very cool. Very awesome. And what is kind of like, if we go back to we'll call it the in-person touch now, we have folks on Canada side and the US side of the border that are VAs that you guys help connect with companies, both Canada and stateside. What are some of the skill sets that those individuals have? Like let's go through kind of like an array of skill sets that someone could hire as examples, and how they could be useful for folks.
Yeah, so every single day is new to me, I find, because every single day I learned that somebody has a new skill set that I didn't know before. But the biggest part that we support is like admin, EA, social media, marketing, customer support, e-commerce, bookkeeping, HR. Oh,
That's okay. We take your time.
what else do we have going on?
Trying to think too
There's a
of like
lot.
other things. Yeah.
A lot. Like I said, I think we have such a wide variety of pool. Like web design, graphic design, translation services, even. The pool is just so diverse. And that's what's so unique about this business is every single person has something different to offer and something different that they specialize in.
Yeah.
And the industry, it's so cool. Oh, medical is on there too.
How so? How does that work?
Like any medical office assistants.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So a little bit more specific to that industry. Cool.
Yeah, that one's on there. Oh, what else? There's a ton.
Yeah.
I think I got the big ones.
No, that's perfect. I didn't mean to put you on the spot too much for top of mind, but yeah, the point of me asking that too was to definitely highlight how much, like how many different areas of the business can be, touched on and added to. And how long are when people are hiring like this as well, I think one of the nerves potentially on the other end is, hey, like how long, do I have to hire them for? Is this forever, or what if I just need help for 3 months? Like what does that look like? And so I'll tee that one up for you. How does it work in terms of length of contract?
Yeah, so I think there's multiple different ways. It works as like a subscription-based service. So the way that you're working is you're purchasing a pool of hours to be used by either like one or more virtual assistants. There's no contract like associated to it, so you can cancel out as long as you give like that 30-day notice. And that 30 days just allows us to be able to find like the virtual assistants other work. Because we're taking away those hours from them. But the big part is just like trying to find them other work. But if you come on for like a 3-month project, you can just let us know, hey, I need this for a term basis, 3 months, and then you have it for 3 months. And then we know and we understand that not all of these solutions are permanent for every business.
That's awesome. Especially because, what if you, want to try it out too? You do just need it. You have a lot of work coming up in the next 3 months, or it's your busy season. You're going to need help with bookkeeping or another aspect of business. Then, you totally have the tools right there to help you. Reach out to you and team and get help that way. That's wonderful.
It's awesome, and I think what's super cool is there's just like this diverse industry between every single person that's coming to us. I feel like no two clients are exactly the same, and that's what's awesome about it.
How do virtual assistants find you guys on the other end of the business there? How are they? I guess they're applying through a portal with you guys or something, and then there's an interview process that you guys conduct?
Yeah, so for our virtual assistants, for them to get onboarded with us, currently they apply. And then we do like a very thorough resume scanning, reference scanning. We also do skill testing. So if they say that they're skilled in bookkeeping, then they're getting skill tested in bookkeeping just to make sure, especially bookkeeping.
Cool. But bookkeeping, top of the line, we're definitely testing.
Especially bookkeeping.
Yeah. Extra tests.
Social, like any of those, I guess, roles that they're claiming that they have experience in, they're being skill tested in. After they pass any exam, then they go through like a personality assessment. And then they have to go through like a self-assessment as well. And then they get onboarded through us. In the onboarding process, typically like they work with one of the managers of account success, which is my role here. And then we get them onboarded, we get them prepped for other opportunities. And then the AI will sort through and we'll send off the applications and for whatever opportunity is best fit for them.
Awesome.
I hope that made sense.
100%. Oh, for me it did. I don't know if anyone else. I'm trying to think of like the listener side of things here, but because there's a couple angles of folks that may be listening here, that you're a business owner, or maybe you are a VA yourself and you're curious about virtual gurus and you want to get, in touch. And I guess either way, they're probably going through your website is the best way to get in contact with you guys for that side of things. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, like for any VA who's interested in being VA, if you just type like virtual gurus, become a guru, that application will pop up. Awesome.
Fantastic. This is easy to discuss through the entire process. we made it look easy. What does the Virtual Gurus team look like today? Outside of VAs and stuff, you guys are based out of Calgary. Tell me a little bit more about what's going on there and how you guys are helping support the team today.
Yeah, so I guess I don't know our head count anymore. We're like 30 people, so yeah. We're small, but we're definitely mighty.
Cool.
There's 8 managers of account success, small marketing department. Our sales team is fantastic. Our tech team, incredible. Some of the smartest people I've ever known. Same with our finance team. But what's really cool is like, I think when I first started here, we were very firm, like we're in office. Like
Yeah.
we only hired within Calgary, and now like we have folks that are from the US now that work with us. So we're definitely expanding a little bit more globally for our internal team. We have team members in Vancouver. So that's really exciting. I think that's the biggest change that we've had since I've started, is like just more so opening up our team member to more of like a global like scale.
That's very cool. I think that's very fitting, given
It is.
the nature of the rest of your
It
business
is.
being virtual and stuff, and really enhancing like talent, because parts of our team is pretty much coast to coast. We have parts of our team on the West Coast, and we go pretty much into, we do go into Eastern time zone with our team in terms of skill set. So yeah.
Florida too.
You guys have people from Florida on the team?
Like, yeah, from like US. I meant your team. I'm pretty sure your team has. No, never mind. I'm gonna east to west, not north.
We do. Yeah, more east to west. They're closer to the border than not. But yeah, I mean, and sometimes there's huge advantages to that too. We get very different sets of thought going on there, which I love within the team, because we have folks in different provinces, different states, able to help and have opinions, and they have different experiences. I think it's an amazing thing to do when you're first building on a team, or if you're trying to add someone fractionally into your own team nowadays. I just think it's such a modern day fit or solution to be able to solve a lot of things, both from on the work side of things or on the hiring side of things for the companies, because you guys, I mean, how that works to connect with companies on the other end. There's incredible flexibility for VAs to work, live their own life around their own schedule. I mean, we run things a little bit maybe different than most. We're pretty relaxed, but firm but fair, I guess, on that side of things. But they always come back tenfold and get everything done that we need. So I think it's just more of a mindset thing, probably, is the bigger barrier to that earlier question I posed your way, and just thinking through why some folks might be hesitant, but how to get started and try it out. And I think it's a awesome program to check out if you're in an early stage, haven't figured out how to hire totally yet, but need to, and are getting stressed. I would say, I think that would be a good candidate for your team, for someone to reach out and get in contact, at least have the conversation about things that they could offload, because I think one of the biggest things in startup land is burnout, and having these extra stresses that really don't need to be there, in a sense. So I think it's super important. Everyone should call you guys.
But I think with something that's super cool, like just kind of going off like track a little bit, but what you did was you brought your own VA on.
Oh, I did do that. Yes.
You did that.
Yeah, I kind of messed with the rules a little bit.
Super cool there, where you're like, hey, like if you deal with like the vetting and you deal with like all the payroll and everything like that, can I bring somebody to you? And I don't see why not. Let's do it.
That is true. I don't know how common that is, or if it's
no, I get you were the first and only person to do it, but it is an option.
Yeah, for context, we met a really great person that was looking for work, and it was something that super easy decision to make. I know that even given my work history working with companies, I know sometimes I got hired similarly, and I guess I had this instinct deep down. But I met this person at an event. They were looking for a role in marketing, and we were looking to expand that. We were very familiar with your guys' process in terms of hiring, onboarding, how that could work. And then, we brought some to the table, and you guys were able to help facilitate that. And that was super great and creative, and super thankful for you guys to work with us on that end of things, because it allowed us to add another great human to our team. And they're rocking and rolling with us to this day. But there's different ways to be creative, I guess, within that hiring process and building out the team. And I mean, we have such a diverse skill set too. I mean, it is like a great way to start and build out a company. If you look anywhere else, any other one else's office and stuff, it's probably very reminiscent of what you'd see there in terms of a very diverse squad and skill set. And that's everything that you guys kind of bring out there. What's the most unique kind of skill set that you guys have helped manage that sticks out for you? You mentioned like medical specifically. That was kind of like a new one that I hadn't heard. I guess I did kind of a reverse hire in a way
Reverse
of bringing
hiring,
someone in.
that was a weird one. Okay, so I feel like there's been like a few more so, not necessarily weird, like I wouldn't call this one a weird one, but we
Right.
had somebody who, we also do legal. That was the other one I was missing.
Oh, nice.
Like not like law, like not lawyers, but like
Right.
legal assistant.
Yeah.
We had a girl who came to us and is really unfortunate. Unfortunately, like she had a member of her family pass away and she needed help dealing with the estate work.
Okay.
But she just didn't have like the emotional capacity to be able to do that, as a lot of folks don't have. So
Yeah.
she actually hired a VA to be able to like communicate with lawyers so that she could just step away. And then like her VA would be like, you need to respond to the lawyer today. This is
Right.
what I have written out. Are you okay if I send it?
Interesting.
So that one was an
What
interesting
a
one for sure.
great use, especially in a very emotionally high situation, right?
Yeah, most definitely. So that's definitely one that was one of those where I just wasn't expecting. Like, I don't think anything ever expects you for that phone call.
Yeah.
A lot of, what are some weird ones that I've dealt with though?
Or maybe like unique companies without naming them or whatever that use the services that maybe people could take home as a reference of, hey, we hadn't considered that for our industry, but we totally should.
We had a diving team with the Olympics sign up with us.
Interesting.
That one was super cool. That one was super cool. That happened like right before the Olympics this summer. So
Sweet.
that was super cool. I was like trying to match this client. He's like, I'm on a flight to Paris right now. I'm like, perfect. Amazing. That one was definitely, I guess, more so one where I was just like, oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
I think like when I started working here, there was a few like really large enterprise clients that we had that I didn't even realize would ever touch this industry that were part of it. So like financial services, any like tech company, things along those lines, which have been super cool. I've worked with a lot of companies like out of Silicon Valley, which has been awesome. The alcoholic beverage industry, so the wine industry, has been super cool. A lot of boutiques, like clothing boutiques. I feel like it's so versatile.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it doesn't, like it's not a one size fits all industry.
Oh, I mean, absolutely would be. Everyone kind of needs an extra hand, and it's tricky to find that little extra help sometimes. But if you have that team there to help, when you get to a man cold for a week, in my example, recently, everyone was able to help and right. But I mean, like it's super tricky. It's for the individuals trying to do it on their own out there. I think it's one of the more things that I push in the startup space when folks ask, how do you manage this stuff? It's definitely, you can go, what's that expression? It's like, you go fast, go alone, but you want to go far, go together, kind of energy behind it. Cause there's only so much you can do in one day. And ultimately you build out a team around you that can help, do things that maybe you're not as good at as they would be, number one. And that comes up every day. My team is way better at a lot of the stuff than I am. But if you are down for a week, you need an extra set of help for whatever reason, it's been a bit of a wake-up call. It's definitely a reason why we went to add and grow the way that we did with so many people, is because what happens if you are down for a day or two, who's covering what you were working on ultimately for clients, because that work doesn't stop. You can pause, but that work is still there, whether you like it or not, and you're trying to grow a thing. So whether it be in tech, law, medical, those people do all have sick days or days off, but family events, talking about that person who hired there for loss there, but people, lost or sick within families is a big issue. And people got to take time to do that. And what's going to go on with your business while you've stepped away for a minute to deal with it. I think that, not to scare someone into hiring, but it's ultimately a reason why you need to hire a team around you and build that thing out. So a really great reason to reach out and have that set up ahead of time. I mean, yeah, you guys can do it probably last minute, but it's probably way nicer to have that relationship and established ahead of time, and have the team running with this stuff is my hot take on it, so you can keep things running smooth no matter what happens on the rough waters as we were. But yeah, that's super cool. So core of the team is in Calgary to date. You guys are expanding virtually. Any other plans to expand, I guess, elsewise, or are there other offices, or are you guys solely based out of Calgary with the office right now?
We're just one office. So like the few folks that we have like not abroad, but they're in the US or Vancouver. They're all fully remote, but we do operate primarily like on a very hybrid schedule too, which is nice because it's like I get my office, my coffee runs, my banter with my office friends, and then
awesome
my quietness at home. So it's a good balance.
No, absolutely. And from my understanding, it's a dog-friendly office as well.
It's a dog-friendly office.
I think this was on one of our calls because I had my dog, who is hopefully staying quiet in the other room here, but he was come up beside me one day, and I was like, go away. And you're like, what's that? And I was like, sorry, my dog is bothering me on this call. And you're like, oh, there's a dog here. We both had like these dogs on this call in the office. So, and that's got to be a great environment to be around.
It's the best. My dog has social anxiety. So if I leave my dog has anxiety if I leave him at home. So if I can bring him to work, I mean, he doesn't like the train very much, so he doesn't come very often. But if we leave him at home, he'll just sit there and howl all day. So I need to bring him out places.
He misses you.
He doesn't. He's my best friend. But I think like I do remember that when you were talking to your dog, and I was like, you don't talk to him like that.
He was interrupting the call. Yeah. And then you spun it around and you showed me your pup sitting there though.
Yeah. He doesn't leave my side. So if he's in the office, then I take my jack and I just put it over top of his head and he knocks out for like 8 hours.
Oh my gosh.
But if I move, then he's gone. But I think like overall there's 5 office dogs now we're at.
That's fantastic.
I know. So qualification. So cool. Everybody must have a dog.
They're going to come work there, yeah.
That's the qualification. I'm putting that boundary in now. I'm not in HR, but that's my boundary.
Awesome. Highly recommended if you have a dog and can bring it to the office.
But as for like overall expansion, I'm not 100% sure really what their plans are moving forward, but.
Forgot to ask. Sounded like they're always growing and moving and bumping, and you guys are doing other tech things, and it's exciting to hear about and continue to recommend. Besides the website, is there any other? I guess that is ultimately the best way to get a hold of you guys. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, go through there, send an email. You guys will reach back out, get a hold of these companies, and we have our link in. Well, we'll have the links underneath. The episode here today. We have a link on our website that goes directly to your website as well in terms of like a referral partner kind of thing. We're always plugging Virtual Gurus. So we wish you guys nothing but the best in the future here. And I mean, we'll probably chat later this week in general, but is there anything else you want to add in, Taylor, for the episode today that we missed or want to cover?
I think we talked about the dogs. We talked about VG. We talked about the man cold. We talked.
I know. Yes, it's lingering.
We're good. We talked about VGC. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Well, I'm great here too. I think this is wonderful. I think we covered, Virtual Gurus, you, all and more, services provided, why companies and people should use you guys. And this has been lovely. So we will conclude there. It's been great having you on, Taylor, and we will chat with you later.
Thanks so much.
Welcome.